If we can't be taking care of our children, if we can't be helping parents and families do what they need to do to take care of their children, then we put our economic and social systems at risk, because we're not doing the most important job that any society must do, and that is raising the next generation successfully.
She's just very smart and very eager to figure out what's going to work.
After I graduated from Yale Law School in 1973, I went to work for the Children's Defense Fund. I was part of this great effort to gather information about children out of school, and it, to this day, remains one of my most favorite public service projects I've ever done.
We had this genius on our staff at the Harvard Center for Law and Education named Paul Smith. And I said, Paul, is this a national problem? Could you go look at it? And he came back and said that the census said that there were 2 million children who were not enrolled in school. I
was assigned to a census tract in New Bedford, Massachusetts. I remember being on the small back porch of a Portuguese-American home with the grape arbor covering the porch and vegetables growing in the small backyard, talking to a girl in a wheelchair who very much wanted to go to school, but at that time, before we mainstreamed our children, there was no place for her to go.
You really have to go talk to parents, because we would have missed the reason why most children out of school had to be knocked on doors. Pregnant girls were out, the disabled children were out, the non-English speaking children were out. We decided that the one thing we could do something about was the disabled children, which were the largest group.
We didn't yet live in a completely evidence-free zone, and the evidence was very compelling that we had too many children who were being denied an education, and that was not what we stood for as Americans. And I think it helped to personalize and quantify what the problem was.
And I'm very proud of that. I think that one of the great things that have happened with the coalitions that came together across race and class around the education of all handicapped children is that millions of children have now got a right to education, didn't have it. And the Individuals with Disabilities Act is something that flowed from that.
I learned from watching Marion in action, who was a passionate but well-informed leader, advocate, and taking those two parts of what motivated her was very motivating to me.
She's a leader, and she's very effective, and very strategic, and very tough, and very committed to seeing the children have a fair chance.
I was honored to be asked to serve on the board. After I moved to Arkansas and started a group called the Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families, so that on the state level we could try to replicate the success that CDF had had on the national level. It's the mission that CDF has stood for that I'm proud that I was a small part of promoting. We worked hard in the White House. We certainly appreciated the efforts of organizations like CDF kind of, charging ahead.
There are many, many, many thousands of children who now achieve family permanence and have families that are stable. And I think Hillary really is entitled to a lot of credit on that.
I will bring my own long-term interests. I'm working on an initiative called Too Small to Fail, which tries to take what we know about brain research and get it into the social network bloodstream so more people know that it really matters if you talk to your infant. It really matters if you read. It really matters if you tell a story. So we're going to be working with families and businesses and communities and organizations, like CDF and many others who have been on the front lines of 0 to 5 work for a very long time.
I think that our big opportunity going forward is how do we get that early childhood, high quality, comprehensive continuum of care in place.
And I feel strongly that we need to pull the pieces together to make the case.
She's brilliant. She cares deeply about children. She perseveres. She's an incredibly hard worker, and she stays with it. And she's done extraordinarily well at everything she's ever done. And I'm just so proud of her.